Welcome back to the High Vibration Living Podcast, everyone. I'm doing another episode with Dr. Scott Robinson today, and we're doing a food focus episode. When I picked up his book, There Are No Lines in Heaven, I was reading about a variety of different modalities that he works on with his clients to help them heal or be rejuvenated. And there's also just a variety of interesting information in there in regards to food and healing. And one of the things that really stood out to me was 3 foods that we can all live on should we have to, and that is potatoes, coconut, and chestnuts. So I wanted to have him on the podcast to talk about why these foods are so nourishing and healing, why some of them have been kind of demonized and people are scared to eat them these days, because every food really serves a purpose at different times in lives. It serves a purpose for different times when our body needs those nutrients. And so I don't think all real food can be bad. It's just more supportive at different times in our lives. And I just wanted to learn more about potatoes, chestnuts, and coconut, and why they're so nutrient dense and how they can support us.
Well, for the audience, they need to know, number 1, I've had a near-death experience, and number 2, I was at the Gerson Institute, which is the king of potatoes. The Gerson Institute did the cancer curing and all those other things for people in Mexico. When you use a potato, it gives you both protein and starch. And when you do an organic potato, it's going to fill you up and it's going to clear out your intestinal tract. When you're doing this, it is going to help regulate your blood sugar, unless you're so severely have an issue with blood sugar. And it will also clear the toxins out of your body. So in a form, it's the fiber you need to clean you out. Now, Ozempic has another issue that it does, and you said, why was it demonized? Number 1, for severe diabetics, potatoes are not something that's good because it can affect a severe diabetic's blood sugar.
Yeah.
For things like that medication, which is a big money maker for big pharma, it is also creating an issue where it cleans stuff out. So there's competition. Anytime you have a demonization of a food, you know that there's a big pharma connection or separation where big pharma or can actually interfere with some meds.
Yeah.
So you have to be aware of it. So remember, you're on a planet of evil. Evil runs the show. Evil knows where it can go. There's no karma here. So evil's going to interfere with anything natural because anything natural is God-based. Anything natural is simple. That's God-based. And as a result, potatoes were used, still are, at the Gerson Institute. When Charlotte was alive, we ate as many potatoes as you wanted during the day.
How are they preparing the potatoes at the Gerson?
Every way you can think of it.
Really?
You name it, you can eat it.
Got it.
But my favorite was always just a baked potato.
Yeah.
Now, in that particular regard, I was not eating a lot of butter when I was with the Gerson Institute, but I've had potatoes as big as a pound with a pound of butter on it. And that was when I was working with Agenus Vanderpumps and the raw food diet, where I was eating lots of coconut because the fat was beneficial with the starch and the protein that's based in the potato to detoxify.
Yeah, so you mentioned to me the other day that one of the best things that you can do is eat more fat when you're stressed.
The body reacts in both the kidneys and adrenals and the liver, as well as the spleen, and it needs the extra fat, especially with toxic environments, what they spray in the sky, what they have in the water, what they have in the air, the 5G, you need the extra fat to clear. The European diet, the triangle, is not based on what your body needs and ancient humans actually need. If you go to Eskimos and you see the diet that they have, they never died of cardiovascular issues.
And all they did was eat fat.
The fat of an animal.
Yeah.
And they ate raw food.
Yeah.
And so I eat raw coconut and I eat potato and I'll eat my organic butter and sometimes non-organic butter. Depends on my live blood cell analysis. But I'll eat the fat from the butter, which raw butter and raw creams don't necessarily directly go through the liver, they go around it. So it's used, if you're having a bowel issue, butter will actually be very useful to help you relax your bowels, and you'll have a much easier time. Now, I don't stop anybody from listening from their MDs. I don't do that at all. I come from a God-based reality. And if somebody says, I'm going to listen to my MD, then listen to your MD. Live your life according to your MD, which means medical doctor, not major deity. I want you to be clear about that. I'm also not going to tell you, you have to do this. You can't do that. I'll never do that. This is a life in a realm of freedom of free will without constraint. If you're going to work with me, I'm going to show you the divine path you have to be on. If it is not juxtaposed with what your MD says, your freedom of free will is your choice. I do not dictate policy. It's your body. Live it. Live your life.
And there has to be balance with you getting to eat the foods that you love that make you happy and also make you feel good. So if you have the mindset that the potato is going to kill you, the potato is going to make you fat, the potato is unhealthy, then when you eat the potato, you are going to process it that way.
Your frequency is just that. If your biology of belief says that eating potatoes is good for me and nutritious for me, because it's one of the few things that has a starch and a protein mixed together. I mean, I remember when we were first doing this, if you don't have organic potatoes, you just can't eat the skin. The inside's okay. Same thing with watermelons. You don't want to eat the skin because it's toxic.
Yeah.
But the fact is, if you believe it's going to be healthy for you, then do it. If you only believe your MD is going to help you, or you're a double Pisces, then you're not going to ever follow through on anything. But you see, I was given a choice. Use it or don't. Live it or die. And I wasn't going to let anything interfere with my ability to stay on this planet to fulfill my purpose and missions in life. So the three things I learned to eat were potatoes with a lot of fat and coconut, not coconut oil, raw coconut.
We're talking about raw coconuts, yeah.
Raw coconut is much better than coconut oil.
All that beautiful meat inside.
Oh, I loved it. And we would grind it and make a coconut custard out of it. It was really delicious. And I loved it because my machine, my juice machine, I would use that coconut that came out. I couldn't wait to get to the filter so I could eat that coconut custard that was left over. And that coconut cream is so good and so rich. And yes, a lot of the fiber was taken out, but that coconut cream was so helpful. When I first started using coconut, I would have wicked headaches because it was so detoxifying.
Really?
But I actually looked forward to those headaches. So within a year and a half, I stopped having coconut headaches. I knew I had taken enough coconut where the detox was coming out of my head, which is not really coming out of my head. It's coming out of my muscles, my joints, but primarily my bowel. When you have a headache on the side of your head, it goes to the back of your head. It's dealing with teeth and dental issues and guts. So where the toxins really were was liver and intestinal tract. And so those toxic headaches were a sign that you were detoxing your liver and your bowel. The last part was chestnuts. There are very few chestnuts left in North America, and North American chestnuts are different than Asian chestnuts.
But most of the chestnuts in America now are the Asian chestnut. The North American
and or from plants.
Yeah.
Because we've killed off most of the chestnuts. In Canada, University of Canada, University of Toronto, they've reestablished a farm with 2,500 chestnuts being grown. And the funny thing is, they're actually finding remote chestnut trees in Northern California and other states that were like, wow, we thought they were extinct. If you can, the French chestnuts are better. The Israelis sell a version of the Chinese chestnuts, but you have to be careful of the toxicity level. And how did this all start? The Chinese chestnuts in the 1850s were being imported by a Vanderbilt, a wealthy family in New York. And in those days, they didn't have any divine protection or FDAs or any of that. And they brought in a tree that was fungated, which the Chinese chestnut tree was immune to, but the American chestnuts or North American chestnuts were not. At one time, we had 2.5 million chestnuts. Plants and other animals, especially small animals, everybody ate chestnuts.
That's why you see in all these old movies vendors
with
holidays with chestnuts, and you can't find that anymore.
New York, I still remember it. And, you know, chestnuts, open field, the whole thing about
Christmas. Well, there's songs that chestnuts roasting over and over an open fire.
And right after World War II, these chestnuts took their final fare well, and most of the chestnuts in North America vanished.
Wow.
But the French were providing chestnuts for the English, and they also have the Chinese chestnuts would have been modified. The Canadians are now using a modified Chinese tree with a North American tree to make one that's immune to fungus so we can regrow the chestnuts. That's the days when there were lots more forests, lots more oxygen, and chestnuts had the proper protein and ratio that was good for you. So if someone says, oh, this artificial thing is better than the natural thing, they're coming from darkness and evil. Natural is always better. Real chestnuts, real coconut, and real potatoes are the best things. But if you believe your doctor that I can't have this, then don't listen to me. Listen to your doctor, who you've now made into a major deity. The objective for humanity as we evolve into fourth and fifth dimensional beings is be your own best source with the Creator. Let God be the greatest physician, and there is no incurable with this greatest physician. If you have faith in the Creator, trust in a being connecting you to the higher self, and belief in your own divinity for your reality and your healing. And if you live your life on purpose, what my mission and purpose is, then you will know what your body needs, because your body is a tool and you're listening to that vibration of potatoes, chestnuts, and coconuts for yourself. It's the more natural human being.
Yeah, we have to get to a point where when we feel like we know what our body's craving, we trust it and we take action instead of feeling and hearing what our body needs and then asking multiple practitioners if that's the direction you need to go. Why not just take action and then see how you feel?
And exactly. And I like to use, because we had episodes here with retrograde Mercury and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Use retrograde Mercury as a test bed to see which one's better for you.
Yes.
I have 3 ways to do Einstein prayers. And I let the client tell me which one's best for them. All right? Same thing. Which one's best for you? Go with your own heart.
Mm-hmm.
Not what someone's telling you. Don't even listen to me. Listen to the higher self within. And at that moment, all of a sudden now I got this really good rush where I am feeling so mellow. Too bad Alice couldn't witness me as a mellow person. When you are living life on purpose,
Mm-hmm.
then you are living without competition. You aren't living without lines. You are divinely in tuned with your higher self. You will know what food is right for you, and you will know higher vibrational living from a personal perspective.
So I think that word has a lot of people trapped right now. So a lot of people get too into the details and they think, oh, I only want high vibration food. What food has the highest vibration? And that's not what it's about. It's a soup. It's a balancing act. First and foremost, you just want to eat whole foods in their most natural state, meaning you just want to eat an organic potato.
And
you can prepare it a variety of ways,
including,
but you just with other things. But it's about eating
raw.
a real potato.
Have you ever eaten a purple potato raw?
No.
Take little slices. They're hard to eat otherwise.
Yeah.
But I've seen kids in the fields in Idaho actually grab a potato out of the ground, brush it off, and
Really?
bite it. They're running around in the fields, rocky fields. One of the reasons potatoes are good, it comes from volcanic fields. The more volcanic, rocky.
My favorite potatoes on the planet is the potato from Hawaii. The one I buy in Maui. It has a very light brown skin, and it's lavender on the inside.
And you'll find potatoes from different worlds. They have not only genetically modified potatoes, they have taken out the real, there's so many varieties of potatoes. And one thing about our society is commercially, they've narrowed our options and choices for coconuts, for potatoes, for you name it. And the thing is, that's not how humanity is. And with each body type and each astrological type, there are better things for better vibrations that you need to be aware of. There's no one set way of doing it.
Yes, and I think you lean into what you're craving, what looks good to you, what feels good to you when you pick it up at the grocery store, at the farmer's market. And I think it's also important for people to understand where the food comes from. A lot of people actually think potatoes are from Ireland, and potatoes are from Peru. And there's a lot of type of potatoes that are in Peru that you cannot have in the United States because Peru will not let those seeds leave their country. And that's kind of a beautiful thing because when food's grown in a different place, it changes the flavor. So I love coffee, but I love coffee for the flavor. And I
use it for the animals.
Yes. And I only like specific origins, which is where coffee is actually originally from, which is Central and South America.
And that's the whole part about traveling. When you travel, I'm a Sag, you want to be in an environment. Why does something taste so much better when you're in that country? Because that's where it actually comes from.
Yes, and the soil is the right alkalinity. And there are ingredients and minerals in the soil that is causing the food to taste that way. I don't like coffee or chocolate from Africa, but coffee and chocolate aren't from Africa. It was taken there to grow because the soil and climate could work, but it changes the flavor profile. I think the greatest example that everyone's most aware of is chilies. So you can go buy a chili powder that's a New Mexico chili powder, a California chili powder, that same chili powder, that same chili that's grown in Spain or Hungary is now a version of paprika. That's why paprika in Spain is recognized as that, and it has a certain flavor profile. But when it's grown in Hungary, it's sweeter, and that has a different. It all is based on the soil.
The soil where they come from.
Chili.
So if you look at volcanic soil, it's rich in minerals. What are having a humanity that's having problems, and one of the things it's lacking is minerals. So potatoes are filled with minerals. People are going, but I'm a vegetarian and I'm actually gaining weight. How could that be? You're getting all the rich nutrients and your body's being restored to its mineral balance at proper equilibrium, and your body is allowed to store the fat it needs or get rid of the fat it doesn't need, but there will always be that balance. Coconut has fat, natural oils. It's not so good to buy the coconut oil. Eat it from a fresh coconut. Now, what about the coconuts that have molds? I buy 2 coconuts because I know one is going to be having an issue. I drink only the water, and that's how I test which coconuts got what. But certain molds from certain coconuts are actually used as an antibiotic because if they're blue or green or red, it has a different meaning. Like the purple potatoes or the red potatoes, or there's potatoes, like you said, that are unbelievable colors.
Yeah, they have all these different colors. I dream of trying there's a pink sweet potato that
I've heard about that
and eating someday.
And you know that certain places is allowed to use that. So go and travel, experience the world, use your body as the tool it's meant to.
And enjoy it where it is. Not everything needs to come back home with you.
No, and you know that most times when a company comes back, they're going to modify it to meet the requirements. And it may not have the mineral content. And a lot of these other places, in Peru and South America, higher altitude potatoes.
Yeah.
Not only minerals because it's on a mountain and it's volcanic, it's at a different altitude. That altitude will also determine the mineral content and the vibration of the food. So if I had on a desert island, if it's an island, what is it? It's volcanic most of the time, right? And therefore you're going to eat something. Where do coconuts grow? On a volcanic island. Where can you grow potatoes? On a volcanic island. Where can you grow chestnuts? Anywhere God will blow the winds of the seeds. And it could be near a shore. It could be in a mountain region. And it could be on a volcanic island. So, are we going to bring heaven to earth and bring the things that are most beneficial to us and eat what our body needs? Or are we going to eat because we have a craving for salt, sugar, or fat? There's good fats, there's bad fats. These are good fats, good sugars, good starches, and good proteins, and they all help you detoxify.
How did you learn about these 3 foods?
I was the patient before I was the doctor. And then the angel said, stop. Have patience with the C, P-A-T-I-E-N-C-E, instead of being the patient with the T, P-A-T-I-E-N-T. One was a patient. So I was a patient. I had died twice. I ended up in the hospital. I also ended up at the Gersonhad. clinic in Mexico and several other clinics where I was the patient before I got back to becoming the doctor. So everything I recommend to anybody, I have tested it personally. I've lived off coconut, potato, and then the chestnuts and the fat to throw it in because I love butter on my potato.
Yeah.
And when I'm stressed, I eat, if I can't get potato, I'll have a gluten-free bread that my body can adjust, because some people can't even digest almond. Almond today can be toxic for most people, depending.
Because most of it's sprayed with herbicides, insecticides,
and the skin,
pesticides, and the quality of the water that's used to grow.
So what I've learned is I sometimes make my own sourdough. And here's where bread comes in handy.
Mm-hmm.
What people do not know, if women make their own sourdough, they will lessen the likelihood of breast cancer, because the bacteria made for the making of sourdough is similar to the bacteria required when she was pregnant and gave birth. And that bacteria then migrates from the vaginal area to the breast, which then feeds the child and helps with immunity and actually helps a woman prevent from having breast cancer develop.
Would the same be for making sauerkraut or any fermented foods?
Sour fermented foods, but especially I love sourdough. My housemate, Dr. Miller, she's my spiritual sister, and she naturally migrated to had this thought, this feeling, I gotta make sourdough. So we love making sourdough.
What does making sourdough do for men's health? If a man really gets inspired to make
it helps for prostate health. It's funny, I can't eat a lot of breads, but I can eat sourdough. And hey, the miners, 49ers in California, they eat sourdough.
Yeah.
It's actually a healthy fermented thing, and I can lather and slather that, and I never have a reaction where it puts me into acidity. That sourdough puts me into alkalinity and balance. Your balance has to be between 6.8 and 7.2 on your pH. So all these foods that I talk about will always put you back in a neutral or more alkaline environment. If you're more acidic, that polarity purveyor will bring you back in to that. Most of what's in the world today will put you in acidity. And when you're in acidity, just like an acid environment, it's going to burn books. It's going to burn the inside of you. It'll affect your calcium, magnesium. It causes your bones to leach, and you'll have more osteoporosis. So all these things are important.
Yeah.
And if you know your body, if you're sneezing and you have an allergic reaction, either God's telling you it's the truth or you just went into acidity. You must push yourself into alkalinity, and proper use of potatoes, coconut, or chestnut will put you back into that neutral pH.
What does it mean that I sneeze every time I sprinkle pepper?
Number one, you could just be allergic to pepper.
Yeah.
Number two, it's changed your alkalinity, or it's coming as a truth from the Creator.
Because you saw that the other night when
You start sneezing like crazy.
And it happens about a minute or two after I sprinkle the pepper, and I don't have to eat the food. I simply can be preparing the food for other people, and I start sneezing like crazy.
It's like a homeopathic reaction. And in your particular case, we have to find a new pepper.
And know what's interesting is I haven't always been that way. It started after culinary school.
And you're around a lot of things, and people become oversensitized or immune to certain things. In this case, normal pepper is not your sling. You have to find a new kind of pepper.
Interesting.
And for that, I see that automatically if you're sneezing, something's happened, it's a reaction.
Right? Yeah.
Immediately your body's saying, I got to get rid of this.
It wants it out. Yeah.
Right. Now, for some people, if you're on an Ayurvedic diet, certain kinds of long pepper, short pepper, I had to live off long pepper, and it helped me tremendously. I couldn't take normal black pepper. So I had to find peppers that were useful for my body. Remember, I'm not coming from, I'm telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I would do if I were you, because I really did come from me. Nobody else. Doctor didn't tell me this. I had to find this out using it on my body.
Yeah, everyone has to figure out what works with their body. And then I think it's really important to know, especially for women, is that your body's going to keep evolving every 7 to 10 years. And so it's going to change again, and it's going to change again.
And men don't realize they have what you would call a menstrual cycle, but it's not really. It's a hormonal cycle.
Okay.
But it's 90 days, not every 28.
Really?
And men don't know that. And they'll go up on the mood swings and why are they flaking it? And so your food will determine your hormonal balance. And if your hormonal balance is off, your food just can either push you into a hole or lift you up.
I think the number one thing I would just love for people to take away, not just the fact that they can eat potatoes and butter, and that's going to be supportive for them, is the number one thing I'm seeing with people these days, all ages, is they're eating a lot of fast food. So they're going through Taco Bell, Burger King, Jack in the Box, In and Out. They're eating at Costco, and they're making excuses as to why, my food from In and Out and Costco it brings me pleasure, or it's actually not really fast food. They're making all these excuses, but it's still heavily processed food. It's not nutrient dense. It's prepared in a way that's fast. So it's affecting their nervous system when
it's already pre-cooked. Just heat this up in the microwave or whatever.
It's just not, it's not serving them.
And it's also been through time. And I have to tell you, food, especially juices, because I've lived off juices, you have 20-minute window. Any juice that's in a bottle, or it's more than 20 minutes, it's already old.
Yeah.
It's lost its mineral
You
content.
have to make it fresh for yourself.
Right. And people go, oh, no, I can't do that. Let me tell you, I worked with the Gerson Institute. I was the patient before I was the doctor. And I lived as the doctor and the patient simultaneously. And I recommend you ask your doctor, has he taken your medicine? Has he taken the medicine he's given to you? If he said yes, how did he feel? Your body is a tool. Don't let anybody tell you what to do with your body. Choose it. Now, I have to also preface it. 70% of humanity can't wake up.
Is that why 70% of humanity is always going to eat fast food?
They're going to do whatever, and the doctor's okay. And don't worry, they're not going to be listening to this podcast. And if they were, they're not going to take anything from it because they don't believe it. 30% are waking up. And I don't mean the woke politically. I'm talking about waking up spiritually. And in that regard, use your body as a tool. And what does the food make you feel better? Or does it make you feel tired? If the food makes you tired, there's two things happening. It's either detoxifying you or it's not the right vibration for you.
Okay.
So that's basically, and so know your body. So even though I'm traveling and doing these things and I do my Einstein, I do my pushing faint matter, I know that certain foods, those three specifically, will always make me feel more empowered, more energetic, and make me feel calmer, which is for this body type not easy to get to.
Well, next time you're in town, we're doing baked potatoes for sure.
Remember what you put on the other stuff?
Yeah.
Loads of butter.
Yeah. We'll get really good raw butter.
And special sea salt.
Yeah.
The right kind of sea salt. And maybe some chives or some basil. Or what was the other thing?
We could do rosemary as well. But what's really interesting is one of my clients, his favorite thing that I prepare for him is I take russet potatoes, organic russet potatoes, I peel them and dice them and add them into water and boil them as if I'm making mashed potatoes.
And use that juice from the potato and you can actually make your plants grow.
Oh, really?
And oh my gosh, never throw out potato water. It's got so many minerals.
So I then drain the potatoes and then I toss the potatoes in butter, finish it with really good flaked sea salt and chives. And I serve that with a beautiful piece of fish or protein and some simple steamed vegetables. And that is his favorite way to have potatoes.
I'm hungry. I think it's time to go to lunch now.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely time to go to lunch.
And as you always say, how do people get a hold of me? Do you know my number by heart now?
I don't, but tell me the number that is your frequency.
All right. My telephone number where you can WhatsApp me, text me, email me. Just tell me who you are, though, but don't give me a lot of details. And that is area code 760-917-2625. Again, area code 760-917-2625. Or go straight to my website, therearenolinsinheaven.com, and you can book a session with me. And I'm on a book tour right now, and I'm also doing more lectures. And I'm seeing clients all along the West Coast as we travel. And I make my rounds. I worked with people in the Netherlands, Vietnam, Australia, South Africa, Peru, Mexico, Nigeria, you name it. I've been there, and you can meet me and talk with me and just get an honest feeling, not opinion. Because God doesn't want to know my opinion. God wants to know how I feel.
And one thing I realized I haven't done with you when we've done a one-on-one session is review my diet and see what I need to edit and change. Have you ever worked with a client during a seasonal transition, spring to summer, winter to fall, or fall to winter, where someone knows that what they're eating isn't right and they need to change things up? Have you ever done a diet review with someone?
Yes, and just like the reason there's different foods at different times of the year is because your body will acclimate to the new climate. Mm-hmm. So cherries at certain times, because you need the anti-inflammatories. You are going to be able to take that only so far. Or pumpkins or squashes, they're in the autumn. And so you're taking all the minerals of the summer and bringing it into the autumn and fall. Why do certain things happen at certain times? Your body wants those, and where you live will acclimate. Your body will acclimate to where you live.
Yes.
And therefore, eating bananas may not be good for you. As a matter of fact, now they're finding that certain phytochemicals are not good from bananas because they can actually take minerals out of your body. And you're saying, but it gives you potassium. But if you're trying to get certain things in, it'll actually take
But just eat bananas when you're in a tropical environment.
That's the best way to do it. Coconut, technically, you should be in a tropical environment.
Yeah.
So living in California isn't tropical, but better in Mexico.
Yeah.
Or in Florida, where I'm near, where the cane sugar is grown.
Yeah. And when you're in Hawaii too, there's tons of bananas that grow there. There's tons of coconuts that grow there. You enjoy them when you're there in that environment.
Yeah, and you have plantains when you're in Puerto Rico, which is a more starchy kind of banana. So I can't eat them out of Puerto Rico, but man, do those plantains go good with some of the meat on Puerto Rico.
So for people that are listening to this that are still a little overwhelmed and confused as to what works for them, they can reach out to you and do a one-on-one session to kind of dial in what they should be eating in the season.
Correct.
Okay.
And that's just like what you wear in the season, what you eat. Because you eat at the wrong time of the day, and if you eat at the wrong season, that will create fat.
We're going to do that. I want to test my intuition and see if what I'm feeling and knowing that I need to evolve and change within my diet is what you're sensing for me too.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Been a pleasure, Whitney. It's always a pleasure when I'm on these. And thank you to the staff, Mara. Thank you for everybody that was here that takes care of everything behind the scenes. And thank you to the audience who's listening to this. May you have a high vibrational living. May you go with God. May you be able to use the power of prayer, Einstein, pushing faint matter, the verbal frequencies that we talked about, and eliminating emotions that don't serve you, so that you can elevate your consciousness to become a fourth and fifth dimensional being as we enter into a new world, bringing heaven to earth. Yeah, this was an excellent episode. So for the people that are listening and they're familiar with Dr. Scott Robinson or they've read his book, if you find that there's other topics that are in his book or you've heard him talk about where you'd like for us to go deeper, please let me know so we can have him back in the studio and continue our conversations. Because I think this is just supportive for everyone that's looking for just a way to evolve personally and professionally. And it's just fun to learn. Amen. Now, last as we close, remember Spock used to do this, live long and prosper? Yeah. The Hebrews, Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Do you use your left hand? You can do both, but the Kohanim or the priests would be Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha Kain Hi Ratzon. So may it be. That's where it comes from because Spock was an Orthodox Jew. And he used that to make something of a universal. Live long and prosper is actually what that means. So, really? Yeah. So live long and prosper. Spock's on the other side, and we will meet in the stars because Whitney and I know we are star seeds, and I know my home is heaven. This is my way station, my training, and this is the reason my book was, I was told by the angels, I must write this book and leave this because when it's time for me to recycle, I will come back, recognize that, and pick up where I left off. Remember, you're never alone. God is always with you. May your food bring you back to the heavens and to the earth. And may we reunite again so that we're always in divine alignment and timing. One last thing. Can you share with the audience a prayer that they can do over their food before they eat? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. what you're always asking is, God, send down the Holy Spirit, the healing stream, whatever, the healing energy from the Creator to the food. And you will actually begin to feel the energy coming out of your palms onto your food. Do a prayer. We know that you can do it over water and it will shift it. What you're really asking is the love of the Creator be placed into the food you're eating. And when you're doing that and you're coming from your heart, the food will be filled with the love of God. Now, I have specific prayers for specific things, but no, the prayer must always come from your heart. And in my book, I have 7 examples of 7 kinds of prayer that will actually either keep you protected or fill your food with the love of the Creator.
Thank you, Dr. Scott Robinson. This is a treat, as always.
Thank you. God bless to everybody, and see you somewhere out there. Amen.